Well, unfortunately, we haven't been doing much gardening. It's been all about the goats. So as of this morning, all 3 of our does that were pregnant have kidded out. We have 7 kids all together. We have 3 doelings and 4 bucklings. And let me tell you, we learned something with every one of those birthing sessions, kidding sessions, freshenings, whatever you want to call them. But man, we thought we knew what we were doing. We didn't know anything. So with our first goat, Maisie, that kidded out probably 3 weeks ago almost now, you know, it was our first time going through the whole freshening, kidding process. We thought we were very prepared, but unfortunately, no matter how prepared you think you are, there's about 150 billion other things that you weren't prepared for. And she was our good first run. She was a very good mother. You know, actually by the time we got outside, she'd already birthed one of the babies, and the second one was coming very quickly after that. But they all turned out to be very healthy little boys, blue eyes. We think they're pulled, and they're just, yeah, you just cutie, aren't you? Yeah. So a few things we learned from our little Maisie. Number 1 is if your goat starts acting a little bit abnormal, gets a little bit louder, kind of separates herself, just things abnormal, especially when it comes close to that birthing time. More than likely she's in pre-labor or she's starting to get some contractions, and you know, probably within the next 10 hours or so it is going to be go time. The night that she gave birth, she was real sassy in the evening time when we were doing her food and that kind of stuff. We didn't really think about it, and it turned out that was the night that she was giving birth. And later on when we talk about another goat, that sassiness came into play and kind of put us in gear and getting some other stuff done. So that's one thing. Second thing is that, you know, these mother goats have a lot of natural instincts on what needs to be done. They really probably don't need as much intervention as what we probably think that they do. So sometimes just letting them do their thing and kind of stand back, probably the better thing sometimes. Sometimes you have to jump in there, but really they know what they're doing. I mean, like I said before, you know, one of the babies already out. She was cleaning up before we even got outside, and she just did that on her own, first time freshener, so she knows what she's doing. A third thing that we learned is to make sure that they're, especially with, you know, we just had 2 on this one, but 2 bucklings, so make sure that they're eating off of one side or the other, or both sides, that they're just not one or the other, because we actually had to milk her out a little bit because they were just hitting one, and we had to kind of make sure things were okay. Oh, I got you. Oh, I got you. I got you. What you doing, Sutton? Boop, 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 boop. Boop, 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 boop. Oh, I got you. So a few things we learned from Spice. Number 1 is, if you guys remember, she had some huge udders. I mean, they were almost dragging the ground by the time she gave birth. And what we learned is, number 1, the babies had a really hard time getting up underneath her and actually getting to the teats because they were just so close to the ground. So we actually had to milk her out. The first time I milked her, we probably got I would say probably a quart worth of milk out of her. We fed that back to the babies because they just were having trouble just getting to the teats. We had to bottle feed them a little bit, but they seem to be doing great with it now. They're managing the milk production at this point. They're up off the ground. They can get in there, and they figured out how to do that. But at first, we had to kind of show them how to get there, and then we actually helped them out even more doing that. Second thing that we learned from her is sometimes the female goats don't pass all the afterbirth, and she had a little bit of it hanging out still. And we kind of talked to the vet, and we talked back and forth to the vet 2 or 3 times, and it ended up we actually took her to the vet. They helped us get rid of everything, and then actually gave her some antibiotics. So make sure that you have a good vet that knows goats, and either can come out to your place or you can go there with your goat. It really helps out. Helped this little baby out really good, and she was able to keep milking her, producing milk for her babies, and they are all 3 nice and healthy. They're just taking a nap now. They were zooming around here a while ago. And the third thing that we learned, actually, she was the first goat that actually could kind of feel the ligaments disappearing. I know it's kind of a vague thing, but really, that whole back end back here, let's see if she'll stand still. This area right back here, oh, she's running away. But all of that, from where her tail was down, it just was mushing. You can almost feel up underneath her tail, almost up to the back of her spine. So that definitely helped us with our next one that we're going to go to next, because yesterday we felt that and we're like, okay, it's imminent. She's being sassy. She has no ligaments. Today's the day. So here we are with Carmel. She gave birth this morning about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. Oh, I'm not meaning to wake you up, sorry. But she did a really good job. Like I was saying yesterday, she was ultra sassy all day long. Like first thing in the morning, all day long, nonstop, bleeding. It just would never stop with her. So once we did that and we felt up in here, we knew, and she kind of looked like she had her babies had dropped. We knew, hey, it was time. So everything kind of led up to that, really helped us out with that. But one of the things that we learned is kind of one of the, when they start kind of moving around bedding, starting kicking out all of the different aspects of their bedding where they're trying to give the birth, scratching at the ground, they're kind of getting up, getting down, moving around, all of those things. But one of the things that we had to deal with one of her little babies, so this little girl, come here, Butterscotch. Oh, I got you. So this little girl, she was kind of weak when she came out. She's very small, but she did not have the sucking reflex or any of that kind of motion down at all. She was not going towards mama and did not seem to want to eat. So my daughter, the Dairy Queen, and I, Megan, she, there you go. See, there you go. See, that's what she was not doing this morning. But her brother here, he latched on 3 or 4 times in the time that we're trying to work with her to make that happen. So we had to, I had to milk her out a little bit, got that colostrum. We had a little syringe. We kind of syringe fed her in the back of her mouth while somebody had a finger in her mouth, kind of moving in and out. We're kind of tickling her little back end, like mama's like licking on her back end there. That kind of increases that suction motion. And so we got her to latch on a few times. We kind of let her rest for about an hour or so. And then by the time we got out, she was doing it all by herself. And again, that's one of those situations where we kind of stepped in and helped out. But, mama did a good job. And also, one of the things I'd have to say is keep your cool during the birth of the babies, because her first one that came out, the little boy here, little Rocky, he came out like with one hoof up, one hoof back, and his head out. So not quite breached, but it was in an awkward position, and mom had to kind of work a little extra to get him to come out. But we stayed calm, we didn't freak out, and we just kind of let nature take course, and he came out, and he was a beautiful little boy. Yeah, guys, pretty family. Yeah. So one other thing that we kind of learned as we went along here, we had got the birthing stall set up, but we didn't really do anything outside of that, any kind of transitional time frame of when it came to, getting the little goats and mama's outside times and some play area once they got a little bigger. We didn't really think about that for whatever reason. We just didn't. And so, we've had to kind of build some things on the fly where we've had to kind of do some mobile goat pen areas in front of where their birthing stations was. And yesterday, we knew that we needed to get Carmel into that one area where we were just in, and we needed to get Maisie and her babies into another area. But we had to build a fence, and we did that yesterday. But it's just one of those things we didn't really think about it. Plus, you have to make sure that if you have a wether or you have one that's out here by itself, not secluded, make sure you give it plenty of loves. Because, you know, goats are herd animals. They need some special attention, and, you know, they can get close to fences, but, you know, they do like to be together. So you just have to give them some extra attention, yeah. And this guy loves that, so it really works out really well for us. But I would say that our kidding season for 2020 has been excellent. It was our first time going through it, so we learned a whole bunch of stuff. And now we're looking forward to, you know, getting these kids raised a little bit. We're gonna sell a whole bunch of them. I think we're only gonna keep one. So I think out of the 7, we're gonna keep one, and one's already spoken for, so we have 5 left. So if you're interested, PM us on Facebook or Instagram. Those links are down below. And we'll talk about pricing and all that kind of fun stuff with you if you're interested in our goats. We live here in central Oklahoma. Yeah. And, but we're definitely looking forward to the next step when we start milking the moms more, and then what we can do with that milk, you know, make cheese, make yogurt. Of course, for me, I like to drink the goat milk. So I'm looking forward to that, but it's just been an awesome time. And hopefully now we can spend a little bit more time on getting our garden set up, because as we're going through this trying time in our world, growing your own vegetables is probably a very needed thing. But I tell you, having these baby goats has been such a stress reliever most of the time. And being able to come out here and get some goat therapy has been awesome. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed those videos. Make sure you check out our Facebook or Instagram, because we throw out some real short videos over there almost daily for you guys. And yeah, is that right, Marty? Okay. And but guys, from our homestead to yours, have a blessed day, and we'll catch you on the next video. Bye.